Well, all right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm super excited about this evening's show. It is our last show of Women's Healing, so I'm super excited about that. I'm your host, V. Bailey, and this evening's show is about living free and playing hard. And I'm excited about it because we're ending it on a high note, something fun. But we're going to really get into it. We're streaming live here with the HBCU Lounge Network. And before we get into the show, I want to take this time to remind everyone if you have a YouTube channel, please log in so that you can join us in the chat if you have questions or just you want to interact with us in the chat. I believe you're not able to do it unless you are logged in. So take the time to do that and also share it. Share the link with your friends, your family, anyone who you think will enjoy the show and get something from it because we have wonderful guests here who are going to, help us. Help us with this discussion of how um, playing or adults, playing is not just fun, but contributes to our overall healing as well. And so, yeah. And so, without further ado, I want to go ahead and allow our guests to introduce themselves. So, we have Dr. Diona with us, who has been with us several times over over a couple of shows and several episodes in this season. So, Dr. Diona, welcome. And if you can introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for having me on, V. Once again, my name is Dr. Diona. I'm a licensed psychologist working out of South Florida, co founder of Augustine and Augustine Psychology with my sister, Dr. Joe. And I'm all about doing whatever I can to help our community move forward, but especially women of color. So it's such a pleasure to get to be here tonight.
Awesome. It's such a pleasure to have you with us again. And next we have Ms. Siobhan Carter.
Hi, everyone. I'm Siobhan Carter. I am the founder of Walking in Wholeness, and where we advocate for women having healthy relationships with themselves that fosters healthy relationships with others. And I'm also the co founder of the Dating 101 card game, where we help people have meaningful, fun conversations about dating and relationships. Happy to be here.
Yes, awesome, awesome. And last but not least, we have Miss Queen of Chopi. Queen, if you could introduce yourself to the people, let them know what you do and how long you've been doing it.
Hello, everyone. I am your friendly neighborhood unicorn, Queen It Shall Be. I am the founder and lead game developer in the company that I created called In All Seriousness, also known as IAS Games, which specializes in tabletop games and stuff related specifically and unapologetically to Black culture.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, I'm getting a little delay over here on my screen. Um, okay, well, awesome. So, I wanted to kind of get into this conversation about us playing more. The conversation had came up, I was talking to some ladies, and a thought it came to my mind about us as Black women, being too serious. And I know it's not all of us, but um, a lot of times, our focus is really on taking care of, everybody else and the things that we have to do and, achievements and things like that, that we don't really take out the time as much to just be silly, have fun, and, just enjoy, life or even rest. That's something that has come up too about, just feeling guilty about resting. And so I was just like, I wonder, how people feel about this, like, how other Black women feel about it. And so I kind of asked around, and I don't know if you guys seen, but just some of with the posts that I made, I had a couple of the screenshots of different people's reactions. And Siobhan, you had posted as well, responded to it, and it was just so interesting because there were some people who didn't even like understand the question, and I'm just like, That's how you know they don't play, no, because they don't even understand the word. They're like, what do you mean, play, fun? No. Like, I don't even know what that is. I forgot about that 20 years ago. And and I'm just like, this is kind of sad. So I was like, okay, I'll rephrase it for some folks to see. And some would answer, and they were able to tell you like what it's fun to them. And then when I asked, well, do you think that you do it, enough, or do you do those things? And they're like, yeah, not really, like, and I know that the conversation came up with one of the young ladies about, well, a couple, just speaking about society, oppression, all these different things, and just growing up, too soon and having to like take care of siblings and just basically being robbed of your childhood, that like the play thing is just like the last thing that's on our mind. And so I also, in my research, I don't know how it came up, but that strong Black woman phrase. And I was just like, I wonder if there's any connection with that. So I wanted to read some of the stuff that I found about strong Black women, right? Schema. And so this is the strong Black woman schema, as defined by scholars, is an archetype of how the ideal Black woman should act. This has been characterized by three components: emotional restraint, independence, and caretaking. Strong Black women must hold their emotions to avoid appearing weak, portray themselves as strong and independent while being responsible for problems of others, and take care of the problems as if they were their own.
Mm.
Stemming from stereotypes of enslaved Black women, the schema grew from intersectional oppression Black women face from society's expectations. So it's like the term, working twice as hard is more than just a saying. It's a reality, in our community, but especially, with Black women. And because of these expectations, we're taking more responsibilities on at work, within our family, because we know that, we always, it's everybody calling, mama calling, cousins calling, somebody's got some issues with their kids. They need to stay there for a little bit, just all these things. And it's just when this has been put on you for so long, actually, even before that we even were born, it's kind of like, ingrained in like who we are. And yeah, so just taking on that with, your family stuff. And then this leaves us with a limited time to play. And yeah, because it's just like, how would you do that? If you're taking care of everybody else and you're being superwoman, and then these things, like when I heard this and I would hear people talk about it, it kind of make it seem like Black women coined the term and that we were calling ourselves. And I'm like, I feel like we didn't do that. I just feel like we did, right? And so when I looked it up and read this and research, I was just like, yeah, that sounds more accurate, because same thing with what we talked about last week when we were talking about a healthcare system and the different disparities within that. Um, it's that mindset of what they think that Black women are and what we can handle, what Black people can handle more than the average human. And that doesn't leave us time to be human and to feel our emotions and things like that. And so yeah. So I also read about how this playing, can trigger the release of endorphins, the body's natural feel good chemical. Endorphins promote an overall sense of well being and can even temporarily relieve pain, improve brain function, and um, more Black women these days, more Black women, young Black women, are re-examining the strong Black woman syndrome and engaging in self-care practices that change their lives. And so I think that that's really wonderful, because we're kind of getting more educated on this. And these things I didn't even know. It was just a hunch. And then I just, once I started researching, it was just like all this amazing stuff that was out there in that article about these different ways to play and how it improves your relationships, like even your dating relationships, building trust, and and then just your wellness too. And so it excited me because it was just like, oh, well, this is awesome. I know so many times we get offended about the things that we experience out in the world, and sometimes we're looking outside of ourselves, but this is like an opportunity, and I'm sure there's many other opportunities of ways that we can contribute to our own joy, right? And we can feed ourselves and do these things for ourselves, and then it affects so many other it impacts us in so many other ways. So for me, I never really had a problem with the term, strong black woman. I guess I'm just like, we can leave the strong off for black, so that says it all. But I never really like, thought anything about it. But I wanted to ask you ladies, what are your thoughts on the term? So yeah, Dr. J, I'll let you go first. You just seem like you want to speak first.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely I would say that Black women, yes, for sure, we definitely are strong.
Hmm.
So the phrase in and of itself isn't problematic. It's just
Hmm.
when people have specific ideas about what that phrase means, where
Hmm.
you're not able to really be a multifaceted whole human being,
Right.
you end up being an object to meet other people's needs. So
Mm.
when you talked about the whole caretaking, showing emotional restraint, being fiercely independent. It's
Mhm.
like it forces Black women into this specific box. So then they don't feel like they can be free to express themselves, to
Right.
express when they need help. So the phrase in and of itself isn't problematic. It's just the specific ideas that people tie to that phrase that can be an issue.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's why I hadn't really had a problem with it, because it's just like, it's whatever, strong black women. All right. You see the little shirts too, where it's just any woman. And it's just like, got the woman with this almost like she's a homemaker, but then at the same time, she's strong. She's showing her muscles. And so it's just like, okay, it's just that superwoman kind of thing or whatever, not a big deal. But yeah, like when people are acting like you're less, that you're superhuman, and that you cannot have any off days or off moments, it becomes a lot. But yeah, I would love for everybody to answer that, just because I'm sure we all had different experiences. But Siobhan,
Yeah.
what's your feelings on the term?
So I think because of the connotation, I don't really like it. I know for me, I grew up with the notion that I needed to be a strong Black woman, independent, suppress your emotions. And that caused me, a lot of problems. And so I just desire to redefine what strength means, and to understand that it means vulnerability, it means softness, it means, expressing your emotions. And so I just don't like the connotation behind it. So I really don't want to be labeled as the strong Black woman because of what comes with it.
Okay, yeah, I got you. And Queen, what are your thoughts?
So the way I feel about it is it solely depends on the intention of which I'm being called at, because to someone it could be uh like, I'm wondering, are you calling me strong because you want to pack more stuff onto me and you think
Right.
I can handle it? Or am I strong because you see an inspiration in something that I'm doing, or you've seen my growth from when I was in weaker moments? Like, what is
Right.
it? What's the the drive behind why it is that you're calling me that? And if it's something
Right.
positive, then absolutely I'll accept it.
Mhm.
Because I understand that things that I have experienced and even sacrifices that others have made for me have gone into my strength, but that's
Mhm.
not what defines my strength. So, like, why am I strong today? It would be
Right.
my feeling about it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I guess it's just kind of like reading the room. Like, what is
Mm-hmm.
the? It's a lot of times how they say it's not about what you say, but how you say it. And it's like, okay, are you saying this because you really like see me, and you
Right.
see that I've overcome, some things, and you're like, wow, like I'm just, impressed, or is it manipulation? You're like, you're so strong, you got it. Like, let
Right.
me go ahead
Right.
and
Mhm.
give you a whole nother, task or list of tasks to do. You're like, no, I'll be weak today.
Right.
Oh Goodness. But yeah, so after learning about the term and how it's impacted Black women's mental health over the years, and where it comes from, it made me curious if it also had an impact on why we don't play. That's I read a lot, you guys. Like when I was, and I wanted to like have all of this. I wanted everybody to have it because there was so much good information, and I was like, no,
Mhm.
girl, you got to sum it up. So, but I learned how like that term, really impacted our mental health and mental well being. And I wanted to. It just made me curious. Like, I wonder if that because we have all that on us, which I'm assuming so. Does that affect like have a psychological impact on why we don't play? And so, Dr. Diona, I would love for you to touch on that from your knowledge.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there's a relationship. It's not necessarily one that we're consciously aware of, but
Mm,
I think for a lot of us, the first strong Black woman that we saw were our moms and our
mm,
grandmothers,
yeah,
and they were constantly working. If they
girl.
weren't working outside of the home to provide, they were working inside of the home. They were doing housework, chores, cooking, cleaning, picking up after everyone, and a lot of times, the way we learn is through modeling. So if
Mm,
you see the parents in your life, they're constantly working, you tend to kind of follow that same example where you also do the same thing. And I know for
mm.
myself, my family is of Caribbean descent.
Oh yeah,
There
y'all
was
really working.
usually, yes, there was usually like a negative connotation sometimes when you were
Oh,
playing as if you weren't being productive. So
mm,
then what ends up happening is you get into adulthood and you focus so much on career, job, and
mm,
goals, you just forget about play.
yeah,
So in that sense, I think that there is a link. I think it's related to what we saw our moms and our grandmothers do. But going back to all of the research that you talked about, it's so important for us to get to a point where we can reintroduce play into our lives because
yeah.
there's so many positive health and mental benefits.
Yes, exactly. It's just crazy like how you're able to cultivate and build relationships with people,
Mhm.
just from playing or being silly. And then too, I feel like it helps with arguments too, because when someone makes you laugh, it's just like like it's like you shift from this place that you were where you're frustrated, and then they make you laugh, and then you just like, okay, this is we ain't arguing about nothing that's important. If I could break from that to this that quickly, then that just tells me
Yeah.
like, okay, it's probably not that serious. Let's just resolve it, And I do think like, that laughter and that playfulness really does help. I mean, sometimes you're like, okay, you play too much. We need to be serious right now.
Mhm.
But I feel like it does more help than hurt.
Mhm.
And it is so true because, growing up, I remember um just having to do so much. I'd be doing something else like schoolwork, and my mom be like, "Oh, I need you to get up and do this." I'm like, "Listen, like, unless I am majoring in being a housewife, like, this is not going to help me long term." I used to get so frustrated. Like, let me get done with my schoolwork or do this, but moms when they're just go 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 and they're raised like that, they're just like, "Well,
Yes.
this needs to be spotless, and if I let you put it off, you're not going to do it. I know you're going to do this." And so yeah, it's just like that going and constantly seeing like those women in our lives go. And it's almost like if we're not like that, then we're kind of not adequate. You know what I mean? It's like an
Mhm.
unsaid, unspoken thing. Like, if you're not doing this, then, you're not a virtuous woman, or you're not a this kind of woman. You're not a Proverbs 31 kind of woman. You're like, oh Lord, well, I don't want to fall short, but I'm tired, and I would like to do nothing right now. But yeah. Oh man. So yeah, and so the title is Live Free and Play Hard. And so how do you all find time to do this and like find that balance? I mean, it's an assumption that you guys probably play, but
Mhm.
if you do, and you all are career women as well, so how do you, and I'm sure you have families to take care of, how do you find that balance, or how do you make sure that you get that in?
Mhm.
So I
I
would
guess I'll start.
Sorry, I'm just
No.
looking at you, and I'm like, read my mind, Siobhan. But Siobhan, you go ahead first.
so it's interesting this one. So I just turned 45 a couple of weeks ago, but when I turned 40 is
Mhm.
when I noticed that I hadn't been making time for play. So when I
Mm.
turned 40, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the whole year to celebrate me. So I think that was the
I love that.
start of me really making play a priority. So I did some fun stuff. I went skating and bowling and just all kind of stuff with my friends. And I just saw the importance of that. And so I just took that. So I try to incorporate it at least monthly. Like last night, I had a play date with my girlfriends,
Mhm.
and we just sat around. We drank wine, we played games, my card game, and a few others, and we laughed so
Yeah.
and it was just fun. And so those kind of things are important to me. So I make time for them at least once a month, if not, just dancing around the house, something small like that. But it's just important for me to not be responsible. I don't want to be grown right now. I just want to be, tap into my inner child and just play. So yeah. So
Yes.
the past 5 years, I've been making it a priority.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love that. Um, who was trying to speak? Was it you, Queen?
It was. Yeah, it
Okay.
was me. Um, so I make time daily. I make a commitment. I'm relentless about doing one thing every day that makes me happy. Right now, for the past almost 4 years, consistently, it's been dance. I dance once every day,
Mm-hmm.
but in between that, I um I just I have a mantra that I keep with me, and it's that I worked really, really hard, many, many years to be miserable. I mean, I worked hard at it. I mean, I jumped through hoops to be miserable. I was like, I got to do this, 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 this. I had lists, I had goals, I had doggone spreadsheets, just cultivated on how to be miserable. Like, I got this. I know how to be unhappy. I
Some
got it.
people don't think about it, but they're doing that, as we
I
speak.
said, right. And I know I was making commitments to be miserable too. I was like, ooh, I'm a promise to be miserable today. I'm just going to show up and
Set
be
yourself
miserable.
up.
I know it. So I said, I say to myself, I worked that many years to be miserable. I can put in half the effort to be
Mm-hmm.
happy. I could do that. I
Yeah.
can do that.
So,
I could
so
figure out some time. So I do a bunch of little things like anybody who knows me knows that my favorite color is glitter. I find a way to implement glitter some way into my day and life. Glitter is coming and showing up somewhere because it sparkles. It makes me happy. It doesn't make
yeah.
sense to everyone. It's silly for me. Like I'm good right here. Like I'll put colors in my hair. I'll definitely play games with my kids. I'm a troll. I'm a troll mom. So I'll take out my gold microphone. I'm big on joy. So I make
Yeah.
time. And I
I
notice
love
if
it.
I don't, and if I'm not doing something,
Mhm.
and that even if it's for, no business purpose or no promotional purpose, I'll create something. And that's
Mhm.
my other way of that's my love language to myself is being creative, and I have fun. Like I'll color if I if I
Yeah.
feel like it. So I don't anymore. I don't tell myself that I didn't do enough hard work to deserve to play.
Mm.
And
That right
once
there.
I get that in my head, I'm like, I've done enough. It's all right, let's go. I'm gonna do something fun and I'll find a way to play. Or I make a game. If they ain't want to
Yeah,
play, I'll make
period.
one.
Why not? Yeah, and that's so funny that you said that because it's so true. It's like we do kind of tell ourselves that, like, oh, you didn't get enough done. Like, what are you doing? Like, and I'll always lived my life like that. I'm like, oh, what? What do you mean you're going out of town and you didn't take care of this other
Yeah,
stuff? Like,
yeah.
I could not. Like, I'll be stressed the whole time, like thinking about, the stuff that's not done. And I kind of I admire different people, that are in my life that really they just do them. They just are adventurous and they're like, no, it'll be there when I get back. And I'll be like, what?
Mhm.
What do you mean? And I'm just like, okay, maybe I could like take a page, from some other folks so I can really get to like enjoy, those experiences because that's we're here that have, experiencing life and Part of that are the different, experiences, different people you're going to meet, and you don't want to just be like, no, no, no. You're
Hmm.
missing out on everything.
Right.
So yeah, I get that. Dr. Diona, what about you? I know you love what you do, but like, how do you balance everything out and make sure that you get your fun in?
So I definitely echo both of these ladies. I think the most important thing is to make time for yourself. So
Mm,
in order for me to be an effective psychologist, an effective daughter, an effective sister, an effective friend, I have to take care of myself. And what
mm,
I've noticed is when I don't play as often, I'm more irritable. I'm
mm,
not in as
mm.
good of a mood. So I'm the type of person, I love any kind of puzzle or strategy game. I have apps on my tablet so that whenever I have some downtime, I can play those games. And also, I love to read murder mysteries, which to me it's a puzzle where I'm trying to figure out who did it before the
Mm,
detective figures out
right.
who did it. And then I also, when I'm talking to like family, friends, or clients, I'll tell them that play isn't always just games, like,
Mhm.
Scrabble, Monopoly, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Playing can be goofing off with family and friends,
love that.
teasing them, exchanging jokes, cracking on one another.
Yeah,
Exercise can be a form of play. If you're
yeah.
in a relationship, sex can be a form of play.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
not limiting yourself to one specific idea of what a game is,
Uh-huh.
just figuring out what can I do to have fun, let loose, not always be in the boss woman mindset, but just being
Right.
in the I'm a human being. And when I have fun and I play games, I feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
I love that. And I like to what you said about that, because when I was reading that about the relationships, they say that it gives the relationships like longevity, and it keeps it, like that spark there when you're playing, And I noticed that I feel like different people bring out different things in you though, And I
Yeah.
love when I tell you I love my friends that I laugh the hardest with. Like I love it. I remember in high school, I have my friend Quisha, and most of my friends, we just have a good time. My best friend, she loves to laugh and she's super silly, Koila. But I remember talking to Quisha and we were going somewhere, and I was like, "Do you think we're gonna be this crazy when we get old?" And I was like, "You think we're gonna have this much fun when we get old?" She's like, "Girl, we're gonna be crazy till the day we die. Like, we're gonna be like this." And I was just like, because I had seen there's some older people, they were, passing by. It was two ladies, and they was doing, going out to lunch or whatever. And I was like, "You think we're gonna be the same way?" She's like, "Yes, girl." And I'm just like, yeah, because I don't want to change. I want to be that way. Like me and Queen play games together all the time, especially him in the game. Okay, Mike City. um, absolutely. I think that it's dope, just to be able to remember that. And what you said, Dr. Diona, just understanding that there's different types of play, like, and not limiting ourselves to just, oh, okay, well, we're not playing board games. I don't like board games. Or, no, but we like board games here.
I was going to give you a little side eye, but I was like, she's not talking to me. I
No,
can't take it
no, no,
personal.
no.
It's
No,
not about
we
me.
love board
It's
games.
not
We love
about
board games.
me.
It's not. No,
I
no,
dig
no.
it. No shade. We good.
This is the first thing that came to my mind, because I feel like that's what people think when they think about games, is board
Mhm.
games, or like
Yeah.
when you're an adult, right? But then like when you're young, it's like all kinds of things. It could be laser tag, it
Yeah.
could be, just tag, going outside and climbing in trees and things like that. And so I love that, because and then too with your game, we'll get into that too. Like with your games, you did something different, with it. And it's like broaden, like the whole board game, life, because we're so used to like Monopoly and, the I guess the classic games or whatever. But
Mhm.
so let's actually get into that, because Siobhan and Queen, you both have built businesses around the classic form of play. So I wanted to ask, what was your inspiration? Did anything, major happen that made you say, you know what, I'm doing something different now, or like I want to make games? So go ahead, Queen. We gotta give you your shine real quick because I don't need you thinking that we ain't down with the games, okay? I'm very impressed. Okay.
I appreciate that for real. um, yeah, something major happened to propel me into wanting to not only create board games but start my own business. So I was employed at the best job I had ever had in my life to that point. Right. So, job with benefits. It looked good to other people. I would get compliments from family like, "Oh, you still working there?" Because before, I'm telling you, like I realized now what it was I'm just not comfortable with being in a professional environment where I could not be creative and where I knew I was expendable. Like if I know at any point in time any of this can be gone, I could have nothing to say for it, nothing to show for it. And I have
Right.
kids, I'm married, I have a family. I can't pass none of this down through my legacy, which is what I really want. So if I
Right.
want that, I have to own it. But
Yeah.
after losing that job and being crushed, my husband and some family members were just sitting around, congregating, trying to lift my spirits up. And we started talking about games and started talking about the game of life, the game Clue, Monopoly, of course, and things like that. And I was like, man, I love those games, but I wish, Miss Scarlett looked more like me.
Right.
I
For
need to
sure.
make games. I was like, what
Okay.
if we made games with characters that look like us? And then we started talking about TV shows because, I'm an
Yeah.
80s baby. So what raised me was TV. Okay. So
Mhm.
TV, video games, outside in that order. So we're sitting down talking about shows that we loved. We're talking about the Cosby Show. We're talking about a different world. And I always wanted to go to an HBCU, never got to go. And I said,
Mm.
what if we made a board game, where you
Yes.
get to play as the characters and go through Hillman? And then
Mhm.
after about an hour or two, no one else was talking about it. I'm still in my head going. I'm figuring this out. I'm like,
Yes.
and all of a sudden, I said, I make board games now. And that's it. And my
Yes.
husband was like, because my husband knows me, he said, all right, I guess she's making board games now. We're about to start making some board games. And then I took
Love
some
that.
of my kids' old arts and crafts and
Mhm.
school supplies. I had a poster board. I had some construction paper, Sharpie. I made my first prototype, and I said I'm gonna
Wow.
learn how to make games. But even before really being heavy, because I was still very hesitant, I
Mhm.
said, has anyone else black done it? I
Mm.
wanted to know. And I knew there were other companies that made games. That's what we were raised on. I said, has anyone
Mhm.
else black done it? And I
Right.
found these brothers out of Chicago that made the Martin trivia game and
Mm.
was introduced to some more black game developers and game makers. And the community is amazing because everyone shares information. No one's gatekeeping
Yeah.
keeping like that. So
Yeah.
I was able to get a wealth of information and
Yeah.
able to learn on my own and pretty much be self-taught, but community driven and influenced to start creating games. And it just made sense. I love laughing.
Yeah.
Some of
Yes.
my favorite memories is just me and my friends sitting at a table playing cards or playing something. So I thought,
Yes.
how I have to be a contributor to giving joy just as much as I want to have it. I
Yes.
can't just sit here and
Exactly.
say I want things to be good and happy, and
Mm.
I'm, sitting somewhere I know I do not belong within
Right.
myself and not living up
Mm.
to what I know will make me feel good if I even tried it. Not if I
Yeah.
did it and just, blew up, but if I even tried it,
Yes.
it
Exactly.
would do something.
It
And
would.
and
It would
so far
shape
I've been
the
telling
thing.
myself the truth. So that's how I started making games. It just made sense. I want us to be happy. And so I
Yeah.
focus specifically on Black culture because other cultures are seen in board games so far. I want to make sure that I put my stamp and my foot forward to make sure that we are seen and represented. So and then I got confirmation when I took my game to a school, and little kids were like, "Oh, you look like Freddie. Oh, you look like Ron. Oh, you look
Oh
like,"
my
and I was
gosh.
like, "That's
Wow.
it. That's it. I make games now."
Yeah.
That's
That is so good and beautiful too, because it's it's like you're doing what feeds your soul, and
yeah.
you're feeding other people, and then you're inspiring a whole other generations, kids that get to come up off of your games where when we were kids, we didn't get to see anything like that. We didn't even know it was going to be possible. We were just
Right.
leaning on our imagination and and playing
Right.
with the people that that were in our community. So that's super dope. I love that. Miss Javon, so what
Yeah.
about you? Was there anything significant that inspired you to do start creating your games?
Yes. So my business partner and I created the Dating 101 card game back in 2021. And we
Mhm.
were always talking about, he and I were always talking about relationships and just our concerns about dating and how we feel like people don't talk anymore, during dates. And when they do go on dates, it's like an interrogation. Like, hello, can we just talk and have fun and just relax a little bit? And so that sparked my creative brain going. And I came to him and was like, why don't we start a dating card game where we're talking about different things? And so this first deck, it's 101 cards. And it's called Dating 101 Questions to Ask When Dating. And it
Mhm.
comes in a cute little bag. And basically, you just pull out of the bag and it has scenarios like if you were leaving a party, if you were ready at a party with your mate and you were ready to go within 45 minutes, what would you do? And so it's a fun way to talk about to get into a person's mind without those, what are your long-term goals? What are your short-term goals?
Right.
Those things are important, but you just met the person. Just talk.
Right. Make it light. Yeah.
Right.
People
Yeah,
struggle with that, like too, is
exactly.
being light. They're like, "What's your
Right.
credit score? How did you date? You want kids? You get married? Do you see yourself getting married by December?" It's like,
Mhm.
chill out.
Yeah, so it's like just focus on getting to know the person first. You don't know if it's your husband or your wife. You don't know. Just focus
Right.
on the conversation, And
Right.
so we wanted to start there. And so we have this one and we created two more, and we're working on one that's going to be really fun. I can't wait to tell you all about
Mm.
it. But then we had this one, which is about sex. Now let's talk about it. We're doing it, so why not talk about it?
Yes.
So this is Dating 101 After Dark, and it's 101 in here as well,
Okay.
just to have fun conversations about sex. What do you like? How do you like it? What about this or what about that?
Mhm,
And so we
mhm,
thought that would be fun. And now this one is a little bit more introspective, questions to ask yourself when dating. So we think this is
mhm,
important, before you even get into the dating game. Are you
mhm,
really ready? And so it's a little bit more cerebral and emotional, but we think it's
mhm.
important as well. And then when you are in a dating scenario with someone, then you can ask that person and see where their heart is about dating as well. And so these are some of the things, the three decks that we've come up with so far, and we're working on another fun one, a little drinking game for those that like, to
You're like,
engage in
great.
those in that. Yeah. So that's coming up really soon. But
No,
that's
I mean,
started.
yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, like for everybody who's been following me, like the very first show that I did for real was a online dating show, and so for the same reason what you're talking about, just that disconnect, is happening, and it's just like we need to be connecting more. And so I was like, what can I do? It's like, I like to talk. Everybody has been telling me like, you should be, on the news or you should have a talk show. I'm like, I would love that. And so, but I was so nervous. I was supposed to start with Talks with Me, but then I was so nervous. I did like a little like recording with my friend and then my sister, and then I never really like put it out there. And then when the idea came for this, because it's such a big thing, is everyone's looking for love, and then during the pandemic it was just like everybody's worried, like what are we going to do, how are we going to meet people? And so I was like, this is going to be perfect. And then it brought me to where we are, and just being able to create those different shows and talk to men, about them and like what's going on with them, and with Ask a Black Man, and then women, and then just that betterment. So I love that because it's helpful. And then that one that you have for where the questions you ask yourself, that's
Mhm.
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
season is about, is just,
Mhm.
really, doing that, because a lot of times we don't ask ourselves those questions. And, I recall asking a guy like, "What makes you happy and what brings you joy?" And he was stuck. He was just like frozen, and I'm just like, "Poor thing," like because it made me think like, "Dang, no one has." He's struggling with this because no one has cared to ask, and that
Yeah.
was something I was kind of concerned about. But it took him a while, and even with his answer, I was just like, wow, And so, we have to stop and make sure that we're taking care of ourselves so that we can even know what to ask for within our relationships and not to be just disappointed. You don't even know what you want. So, but
Right.
anyway, that's my
Mhm.
tangent. Um, but next, I wanted to kind of go into with dance because I learned, just how they're. I think the first thing I read was something about African dance and how it really like helps you heal. I also read that when we move, moving our bodies, especially the hips, that it is healing us as well because it's moving the trauma through your body and out. And so that's like who's got more trauma in their body than a black woman, you know? Because it comes through your DNA, and through your womb, So it's like, yeah, we need to be dancing. Because I remember one time I was being funny and I was like, I feel like twerking is black women's play. Like
For
I
sure.
feel like dancing and backing that thing up is how we play. But because when some track come on, we out some place. It's just hard for us to contain ourselves.
Mhm.
But
Listen.
anyway, some of us, because some of us can keep it together. But yeah, I just think that that's funny. But so Queen, I know that you had shared with me, like your great accomplishment with your dancing, and I wanted you to share, with the people about that, like about how dancing has helped heal you. That's all I'm trying to say.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I did share with V when we talked. And thank you so much for bringing that up about dance and especially about twerking because that's my love language. That's one of them.
Hey.
But so about 4 years ago, I suffered a breakdown, and later I discovered I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. But in that time, before I really knew, I suffered a breakdown, and I began to see a therapist, which was, of course, Black community stigma, like what's wrong with you? You can figure it out yourself, and all
Mhm.
that. So there was a real battle through that. But once I did, and I started to be in the care of a therapist and see a counselor,
Mhm.
it dawned on me real quick when I was by myself that it's me. You know what I'm saying? That
Mhm.
I have to figure something out to do when I'm not with this professional. What can I do when I'm by myself?
Mhm.
Um, and then I saw a video. I still have to send it to you, V. I saw a video of a gentleman that talked about 20 minutes a day of exercise could help reduce the risk of serious illnesses, especially with African American, Black and African American people.
Mhm.
And he said something that challenged me. He said, working out and exercise shouldn't be fun, and I took that. I took that personal because
Mhm.
one thing I'm going to do is have fun when I do something. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
absolutely.
I'm gonna figure out how to make it fun. And
Yeah.
around this time, I had not danced. I danced off and on, but I didn't like really dance. I hadn't danced for years. I had so
Right.
much shame built up
Mhm.
because by this time I was almost 40, and I'm like, I'm a mom, like I'm married, I'm older, like I'm bigger. What I look like dancing and shaking it, and I mean, I used to teach women how to pole dance, and
Oh
then I
my goodness.
stopped
Oh,
because of mental health and struggle. So I
Mhm.
had to bring myself back and be like, why aren't you dancing? Like now, again, here you are
yeah.
working really hard to be miserable because you know you want
Mhm.
to dance. You know that if you dance, you might unlock something. So
Mm.
I said, all right, I'm gonna give myself a challenge. And around this time, I was preparing to take Him in the Game that I just launched to its first convention in Omaha. And
Mhm.
I'm extra. So I couldn't just take the game and just, put it on a pedestal and say, here's Hillman. I had to do something that was like, this is my first game, my first
We
company
here.
on my own. I got to turn up. So I learned the routine from the episode of A Different World called A Stepping Stone. So the A, B,
Mm.
C, D, E, I learned that whole routine. And a
Yes.
friend of mine met me in Omaha. She learned the routine in a day and a half, and
Oh my
we
goodness.
performed it and presented my game with that. But in preparing for that, I had to dance every day to learn the routine. So I had Beyonce's Homecoming on one TV because I was like,
Mm.
I'm gonna figure this out. And then I had
Yes.
the TED Talk that was talking about the 20 minutes on in the background. I had a different world in front of me. I had my game, him in the game, sitting on the side of me, looking at me like, okay, we gonna do this. And then I just said, I'm gonna dance every single day, 20 minutes, no matter what. And then I challenged myself even further because I said, I know me and I'll stop when I feel like it. If I feel like it, or if I feel like, I'm having a bad day and I just don't want to. But I also don't like letting people down. So I said, let me go live. And I said, this is my accountability check. I went on, I was all sweaty. I said, I just danced. I said, I'm going to be here every day. If you don't see me, call me out. I don't care who you are. Just say, Queen, I didn't see you today. And I'm going to get up and I'm going to dance. No one had to call me out. I ended up doing it on my own. And around 90 days, a friend of mine that I didn't even know was watching my videos hits me up and said, I just want to let you know I'm proud of you. And every day that you have danced, I haven't smoked a cigarette. So
Oh
every time
wow.
I see you and I know
Oh
that you're dancing, and then I know that I could not smoke. So then I was like, oh my God, now I'm really like, I'm showing that there's something we can do within our own
right.
power to help heal ourselves. And
Absolutely.
today, I danced probably like an hour before I got on, so that's why I was a little late. I'm sorry, but today makes day. Ooh, what is today?
It
I
was
danced
pretty
so long I
high.
can't even remember the days. Today is day 1,367 consecutive
Yes.
days of dancing.
Woo, woo.
Yeah.
I
And
love
that's
it.
what the knees up is about. That little knees up right there.
Oh.
That came from watching A Different World and The Cosby Show. So I don't know if you remember the episode where Claire's trying to get into this dress and
Yeah.
she has to have Debbie Allen on there to like be her trainer. And Debbie's like, knees up, knees up. That's where that came from. And every time I say that, I'm getting my knees up. I'm getting
Yes.
that in, and it has absolutely saved my life. I've danced through
Yes.
everything. I've danced through food poisoning. I danced through COVID. I've danced through just being sad, just upset, arguments with family or whatever. Like
Mhm.
bad days, I dance. That's my commitment to me. I said I can dance. I can dance. And every time, no matter what I dance to, I let that emotion out. It has helped my confidence tremendously. I've seen other people really inspired
Yeah.
to
Like
dance, not
yeah.
even if they don't turn on the camera. I started a program helping people get
Oh
on their
yeah.
14-day journey so that they can take it as far as they want to take it. But
Mhm.
yeah, after I made my first year and my second year and my third year, I was like, yeah, this is dope. Dancing has proven itself to be a benefit to me. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm grateful for it, and I get to shake my ass too. Yeah,
And I think that's so awesome because how you're healing yourself, working on your own healing, having fun, being committed to that discipline, that commitment to you, how it's helping someone else. And it's just like, it made me think, our pastor was saying something about, like that unresolved like trauma and things like that. You just like you will have to deal with those things. So it's good, doing the therapy. You just like, because you don't want to be motivated by pain. Like the things that you're doing, you're motivated by pain. And it's interesting because when you're motivated by pain, it's not that you're not, there's a lot of people who benefit from our pain, right? And so it just made me think, how much better, like, will this impact them? How much more will it help them if you are motivated by your joy, and they're
right,
benefiting from your joy? And that just confirms that what you said, because
yeah,
it's not the same exact thing with your friend who's smoking, but he got inspired because he's like, wow, like you could do this, every day. It's not something that you were doing before, and it's helping you in ways like
right,
I can commit this to myself, and do my part, for me, like show up for your life, right?
right.
So
And my kids get to see it. Like my daughter
yeah,
gets to
oh my gosh.
see My
Okay.
daughter gets to watch me celebrate myself. Now that was huge.
Oh,
Like
that.
my daughter dances with me. I get to see her and her like her confidence, her style. Like she dances by herself. She's like, because before, like when I was younger, I would feel ashamed for dancing, especially if you got curves and you're a little black girl. You're about this close from being fast, depending on
Yeah.
who sees you.
Right. That's
So
exactly.
so it really stops you from even feeling like you can dance or that you should dance or that you're, that you're a good person. You can still be a good person if you dance or anything like that. So to be able to show her, show my sons, my husband is super supportive, and
Mm-hmm.
just they see the bigger picture, and it's the goal is to be happy and want to continue to be happy to stay here and be good and be better.
Yes, yes. Has any of the cast from ADW reached out about the games? Have they?
Yes.
That's great. That's really awesome. Of course, when you're doing your thing and living in your purpose and just being true to you, it's just crazy. Like how people show up. Even for me with the show, like there's certain stuff I was like, okay, I need to do this. I need these kind of people or whatever. I need a doctor, need a therapist, need all that. And honestly, like people just have showed up. Dr. Diona,
Mm-hmm.
she's one of those. She has just been, I feel like she's really shown up in ways that she didn't have to, but she's just like, anything you need, I'm there. If I can do it, I will. And I'm just like, wow. And then she like posting stuff and she's not even on like on the shows that she wasn't on. She just posted. I'm like, hey, my own family ain't doing that. No, my family's good. I love y'all. I love y'all. Y'all too much. But but it's just those things like when people are not when they don't have to or they don't feel obligated and they just do. It's just like wow. But when this really was something that I was supposed to do, it is my purpose with helping people, but especially with women. And when it got put on my heart, everything just fell in line and it was just like okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. That's that confirmation. And I just
Right.
love that from all of you because it's helping in so many different ways. And it's just crazy how we impact people we don't even know, like they're just watching you, and they're like,
Right.
You just inspired me. You're like, what? Like I'm annoyed today. I'm ready to quit my job and I just want to be left alone. And someone's like, yeah, I kept me going. And you're like, oh, okay, well, get it together then. Like, let me get it back together real quick. But no, I love that. So I wanted to kind of give you guys opportunity if you guys have any last words of advice. That you would like to leave, and then allow you guys to also share how people can get in contact with you and any events or anything that you have um, coming up. So, Dr. Joy, I'll let you go first. If you have any words, and if not, just let people know how they can connect with you.
So, when it comes to any last words, I think I would probably just say whether you identify as a strong Black woman or not, there is nothing wrong with having fun. And when we
Mhm.
say having fun, you define that on your own terms. Figure out what brings you joy and do it. Whether it's cooking, whether it's spending time with friends, whether it's playing a board game or the dating 101 card game, whatever it is that you have to do to add a little bit of lightness to your life, do it. Because the reality is, today is not guaranteed. You could literally die tonight, and then your
Yeah.
job will replace you tomorrow. So anything you can do today to add lightness and fun and joy and playfulness in your life, do it. And
Mhm.
remember that being strong and having fun are not mutually exclusive.
Mhm. Yes, yes, I love it. And Siobhan.
Yeah, so I guess in the terms of dating, especially when we are women going on these dates, make time for fun. Like be light. I know relationships are serious. I know you trying to find your husband. I understand. But just
Right.
relax a little bit, and just show that side of you instead of the okay, I'm not about these games and all that kind of stuff. Just chill out, just relax. And if you can't, figure out why, tap
Mhm.
within yourself and figure out what's underneath that, what needs to be
Mhm.
healed, what relationship traumas are you still holding on to, because you're presenting yourself. And if you're so serious and just don't see that playful side of you, then that
Mhm.
says a lot, you know. And so just have fun, y'all, on these dates, and bring these cards with you. Okay.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, I'm going to go to your website. I like all of that. So good. All right, Queen.
I would leave with the final words of do one thing every day that makes you happy, no matter how small it is. Give yourself one thing. Um, and also, I would add let people see you happy, especially if you are a adulting is a scam. Let me just go ahead and say that. But if you're a parent as well, let your children see you in joyous moments. It makes a
Yeah.
world of difference. I'm
Mhm.
sure they have seen enough of the stress because you're a parent. You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
your auntie, big brother, you know, whatever it is to younger generations. Let them see you be happy. It's
Yeah.
important. Be transparent about joy just as much as we want to be transparent about, you know, what you're not supposed to be doing or prevention of things that you don't want to happen to them. Like prepare them for joy. Let them
Yes.
know it's necessary. Absolutely. And play him in the game. It's
Yes.
available.
I need to
Ages 7 and up can play it. Thank you, Dr. Diana. I saw what you did there. And yes.
Yeah. She's on it. She's coming with the bullet points. She always do. I'm like, yes,
Yes,
girl.
yes. And celebrate other people's happiness as well.
Mhm.
Yes.
Be very vocal about, because again, like that Dr. Diana said, we could be gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we've lost people. Everyone has lost someone and always had that, oh, I wish I would have. So if you see them in a moment where they are happy, treat it like a birthday. Go big if you can. You know what I'm saying? Big up happiness. It's important. Life
Yeah.
saving even.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's creating as many experiences as you can because obviously when you lose someone, it's tough, you know, and you're like, oh, I wish they were here because this and that. But like one thing that I, think is important is when you create so many memories with that person, then you have that to kind of fill you up when you feel down. So I love that you guys both mentioned that. And Queen, go ahead and let them know how they can get in contact with you as well, or any events that you have coming up, and then go back around. Make sure you
Absolutely.
guys.
For information on IAS and the Black Culture Tabletop Games and stuff, you can email me at itsyourgo@iasgames.com. I am on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at iasgames.com. On TikTok, I am Queen It Shall Be. I also play games on Twitch. I play video games and other games. I play the drums, I dance, I talk. On Twitch, you can find me on twitch.tv/Queen It Shall Be. And as far as events coming up in the next few months, I will be launching the pre-sales for the spades coach. I am teaching Black folks how to play spades from a
Yes.
safe space. Okay, I will
Oh,
be patient with
say
you.
that again.
Yes. Okay. Don't have to worry
Dangerous.
about someone saying you reneged again. Don't worry about it. I got you. You don't have to be afraid of the table anymore. All right.
I love it.
I want us to have a good time. All right.
Oh my
Spades
God.
can be fun.
Thank you for that. Dr. Diana, can you share how they can get in contact with you and anything that you have coming up?
Definitely. So I blog at www.drdiona.com. My sister and I, our private practice is augustinspsychology.com. And then we also are building an organization that's geared towards people of color, but especially women of color, called the mentalhealthsistas.com. And then on IG and Twitter, you can find me at Dr. Diona. That's DRDYONA. And then you can also find us on Twitter at TMHS Official.
Nice, 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 nice. Okay, and yeah, we're catching up here with the screen. And Siobhan, yeah, same thing. How can we find you? I know you're on Facebook and Instagram, so tell people
Yes.
how they can find you.
So for the dating game, you can reach out to us on Facebook, on Instagram, and we are on TikTok, Dating 101 card game. You can also go to our site, dating101cardgame.com, to place your order for these 3 decks that we have so far. And we have coming up that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a drinking game. Even if you don't drink alcohol, get you some tea or water, whatever. You can still play along. Drink responsibly also, but it's going to be really, really fun. So we're looking forward to that one. So that's going to be coming up. So make sure you follow us and stay tuned for when that one is coming out. You can also follow me on walking_in_wholeness on Instagram, and Walking in Wholeness on Facebook as well. And that's where we talk about advocating for women, loving themselves, and fostering relationships with other people.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I am just so pleased with this show. I know some people are like, maybe I'm gonna change my profession. I want to see if I can play, if my career can be playing, you know. So they'll, I'm sure some people will be like, that'll be on their mind tonight. But I just wanted to thank you all for being here, and also just thank you to the audience and everybody who has been supporting us this whole season. This has been really, like dear to my heart, just to be able to do this and to help women. And this season, we had our 3 categories, where it was relationships, and then the struggles and challenges category, and then love. We ended with love. And it's just been really beautiful. A lot of great people who have joined us and just shared so much, wisdom, and as well as you ladies tonight. This is why I wanted to end with this show, because it's the joy. It's the happiness. It's the freedom for me, and we need it, and so yeah, but just thank you all for being here, and everyone else in the audience, in the comments. Thank you for being here with us, and getting into the dialogue, and I really hope that it has blessed you all and has helped you guys grow in different areas of your life. So because I'm rooting for everyone, all of you, so that you can be your best self, and just focus on living a good life and your healing. So thank you again. Thank you, ladies, again so much. And thank you to your families for letting me borrow you all for about an hour.
Yeah, because they were sure knocking on the door.
They're like, okay, are we going to eat now? I'm sorry. But yes, thank you again. And until next time, we'll be taking a break. So until next time, have a great night.